The FIM Sidecar World Championship moves on to Oschersleben for the German Grand Prix, whose completion will bring us to the halfway mark in the 2019 campaign. Action at round 3 takes place 3 weeks on from the Hungarian round at the Pannonia Ring. The first double race weekend of the season saw 2 different winners keeping the leaderboard tight after Piper Inter and Vera Vainen's surprise season-opening victory in Le Mans. In Hungary, though, the Finns played second fiddle to the heavyweights of the championship, favourites Reeves and Wilks and the Birchall brothers. It was the number 16 Birchall Racing Yamaha that started on pole, but Reeves and Wilks were keen to press their case for victory, fighting their way past to lead on lap 2. The status quo was maintained between the outfits until lap 7, the Birchalls on the charge, and Reeves and Wilks putting in a robust defence, even clashing with their rivals around turn 15. Finally, Benetton Birchall knew too much, claiming their first victory of 2019 with an incisive turn 5 move, leaving Reeves and Wilks once again as runners-up. An entertaining gold race produced 3 different leaders in the first 2 laps. The top trio separated by just 3 points in the series standings, and 15 laps deciding who would leave Hungary as the team to beat. Reeves and Wilks were quickest off the mark, but a gear selection problem on turn 14 of the opening lap left them playing catch-up from third. They'd fight back through the field, providing the action early on. Piper Inter and Vera Vainen took up the baton at the head of the race on lap 2, but only briefly. Reeves and Wilks had scythed their way past Benetton Birchall as the Finns had made their move to lead. Within a lap, the 44 Racing Yamaha had dropped to second. There was further bad news for former world champion Piper Inter as he was pushed further back. Benetton Birchall recovering their speed, but not in time to make up much of a 4-second deficit to Reeves and Wilks, who became the 3rd different winners of 2019. Heading to Germany, still only 8 points separate the top 3, but daylight has emerged behind them. A podium finish in France and a double 4th in Hungary, leaving Schlosser and Fries best of the rest. Home heroes for the German Grand Prix, Sattler and Neubert have been making waves in their first World Championship season together, putting in immediately strong results right from the start of 2019 under the guidance of legendary 1975 and 1976 World Champion Rolf Steinhausen. I met my teammate Uwe back in 2015, and since then we've used his experience to get faster. But Rolf Steinhausen was the main reason we're doing the World Championship. He convinced us to do the whole series. He's been in this sport for the last 40 years, and now he's sharing his experience with us. As a 2 times former world champion, I'm very pleased to still be involved in the sport, helping younger riders to progress. I got in touch with Team Sattler towards the end of the 2017 season, and I gave them the chance to test our new chassis. They were successful right from the start with a podium. Then they won the German Championship, so riding here is the next step towards 2020. For the moment, we're still learning the 600cc engine. We want to stay with the top 6 for this season, with the intention of growing into next year. We're still learning to set up the bike, and it's only a couple of small mistakes that have caused our retirement so far. That's why it was so important for us to get our first points of 2019 in Pannonia Ring. We hope that's a good sign, and that now we can chase down the top 4 in the championship. We know that everyone is watching us closely because we're the only German outfit at the German round. We have Rolf Steinhausen working with us. We have a lot of pressure on us, but we hope that we can satisfy the spectators.
Und wir versuchen natürlich immer unser Bestes zu geben, aber man darf nicht vergessen.
There was a lot less pressure on the lead outfits heading back to Germany in 2019 compared to last year. when the motorsport arena Oschersleben hosted a three-way title decider. Also unlike last year, there's only one German Grand Prix this season, so round 3 of the campaign provides an enthusiastic fan base a rare opportunity to see World Championship action in their home country. Benetton Burchill claimed a third consecutive pole position of 2019 in a closely contested qualifying session that saw the top 3 in the championship lock out the front row of the grid, separated by just 0.7 of a second. Päivärinta and Verovainen proved themselves serious title contenders by splitting the two British duos, and as renowned fast starters, the Finns would hope to challenge for the lead into turn 1. Meanwhile, with Schlosser and Fries starting from the second row and showing front-running single-lap pace over Friday and Saturday sessions, Reeves and Wilkes ahead were the team under pressure from P3. Streuer and Russo made it onto the second row of the grid for the first time in 2019 and would now hope to capitalise in race trim from 5th. Meanwhile, the absence of 2 championship regulars, Wissen and Hoffer and Remsen-Weschelberger, shook up the pecking order further back as well. Wildcards Dombanovsky and Ricola completed the lineup on their elite debut. The sprint race in Oschersleben got off to a steady start, with each of the top 3 maintaining their positions, but no shortage of action behind. An excellent start to the race for Sattler and Neubert saw them leapfrog from 7th to 5th, first passing Sam and Adam Christie off the line, and then squeezing around the outside of turn 1 to follow Schlosser and Fries past Streuer and Rousseau. The Team Streuer Kawasaki had been startled by the Team Schlosser Yamaha into turn 2 and were left offline, but they quickly recovered down the inside into turn 3 to reclaim 4th and set back off in pursuit of the yellow liveried number 3 outfit ahead. By the end of the opening lap, that battle for 4th had stretched 2 seconds back from the lead trio, the first 3 race winners of 2019 taking the fight to the front again. On lap 3, the pace began to hot up, particularly for Reeves and Wilkes, who had kept their powder dry in 3rd behind Päivärinta and Verovainen. In the 3rd sector alone, the number 77 made up 0.3 of a second, putting them in the perfect position to capitalise on the tow down the start-finish straight and make a move into turn 1. The Finns, pinned up on the outside, were unable to respond, Reeves and Wilkes setting a new fastest lap of the race on lap 4, beginning to close on Benetton Burchill at the front. Now 5 seconds back from the leaders, the chasing outfits in 4th and 5th could only continue their own duel for supremacy and hope for dramas up front, running similar pace to one another, but a second a lap slower than the lead outfits. Once the race settled down, the group from 6th to 8th proved evenly matched in terms of pace, but with their strong initial break and taking advantage of clean air, Sattler and Neubert had escaped on laps 2 and 3, a second clear of a nose-to-tail duel behind. Sam and Adam Christie were forced to maintain their pace to defend successfully against Leglis and Clément for P7. French duo on the number 33 521 Competition Yamaha were chasing their best result of the campaign, and with a new personal best on lap 8 got pretty close. Sattler and Neubert also dropped back into the battle late on, but stayed the course to match their sprint race result from Hungary in 6th. All that remained was the fight for first, Benetton Burchill fading on the final 2 laps and Reeves and Wilkes capitalising. A determined move down the inside into the Zeppelin curve, the Burchills lacking the grip back onto the start-finish straight to recover. Another strategic race between the top 2, but this time it was Reeves and Wilkes on the attack, keeping their pace down in the 1-minute 33s, while Benetton Burchill had dropped into the 1-minute 34s and lost 2 seconds in the final 2 laps. Reeves and Wilkes last won at Oschersleben in 2016, so around this circuit, and after 6 laps of staring at the number 16's exhaust pipe, claiming their latest win will have been all the sweeter. All 13 starters successfully completed the sprint race, the top 5 in exactly the same order in which they finished the gold race in Hungary. Kim Svenga and the Nerds pick up their first points of the season. Everything was okay. Our only problem was that there are 2 British teams who were just too fast for us today. Against Reeves and Birchall, it's so difficult to win, but our bike is fine, so is the passenger. The team's working. We'll try again tomorrow.
Tim just held his nerve a little better, I think. We had a slight slide on the second to last corner. We lost a bit of drive, but at the end of the day, he crossed the line first and took the win, and we're happy to take points, and we'll try again tomorrow.
Luckily, I think I was probably a little bit lucky. I was managed to follow Ben and Tom for 4 or 5 laps and just try and work something out, and it paid off in the end, and it was only a minute mistake from them that gave us a little bit of a gap, and I was there to pounce, and we're both real close, and it was a great race. Mark did a great job, and massive thanks to everyone who helped us, and we look forward to tomorrow now.
In the absence of Wisson and Hoffer, and with their second consecutive double-figure score, Streuer and Russo move 6th in the standings, while the top 5 spread out after the sprint race in Oschersleben. For the 3rd consecutive race, Le Mans winners Päivärinta and Veravainen are unable to get the better of either Reeves or Birchall. Reeves and Wilkes have dropped just 10 points from 4 races to start the season on top. Day 2 in Oschersleben opened with the riders reflecting on their efforts in the sprint and preparing for the arduous 21-lap gold race. A wildcard appearance had got off to a steady start for debutants Dombanovski and Rakola, the Swedish outfit picking up their first race finish and championship points, albeit with half a second a lap still to find to compete for anything other than the basement position. While the sprint race results had only served to consolidate most rankings in the championship overall, the battle for 5th in the standings continues to close. Streuer and Russo put in their best ride of the campaign first time out, just over half a second from Schlosser and Fries, and optimistic of more from the gold race. Yesterday was good fun. We had a nice battle with Schlosser. We just need a better start here, because I think if we were in front of him at the start, we'd be able to stay in front. Team Streuer's improved form, they remain the lead Kawasaki runners, put Sam and Adam Christie under pressure to fight back. They came into the gold race in Oschersleben having finished behind Streuer and Russo in back-to-back races, with their advantage in the fight for 5th reduced to 9 points.
I think we could have finished the next position higher, but the balance just didn't feel right with the bike. It was a good battle. I know Paul was very close to passing us a few times, but we managed to hold him off. But I'm confident that we can gain the next position higher in the next race.
The other team under pressure overnight was the 44 Racing outfit, who'd been up until 3 a.m. making chassis repairs, but made it to the grid with the target of extending their run of consecutive podium finishes. Despite overnight thunderstorms, the track was dry and the pace was hot in the 21-lap gold race. The riders returning to their grid positions earned in qualifying and another competitive start in prospect. Reeves and Wilkes had been held back in 3rd for 3 laps in the sprint race before making up any places. Their progress off the line in the gold race would be in focus, particularly with 2 strong duos on the 2nd row behind. Schlosser and Fries made the best getaway of anyone from 4th on the grid to challenge Reeves and Wilkes into the opening turn. The sprint race winners were left 4th, while main rivals Ben and Tom Birchall attempted to break up front. The knock-on effect of the Swiss duo's early sharpness was Streuer and Russo getting boxed in on the inside into turn 1 and offline for turn 2, enabling no less than 3 outfits to carry their momentum past them. Reeves and Wilkes quickly recovered into 3rd. The field began to fracture into 2 once again, the podium contenders and the race behind. Streuer and Russo gained back 1 position when Sattler and Neubert's machine let them down. The German duo had taken 5th, 1 place better than their sprint race result, only for the bike to expire in the path of the pursuing outfit and leave them to retire at the side of the circuit, the 3rd time in 5 races they've left scoreless in 2019. With Sattler and Neubert out of the action, the closely packed group of 4 outfits were promoted now to dispute 5th position. Back at the front, Reeves and Wilkes were making swift progress, moving forward just as they had in the sprint race. And after a straightforward pass on Päivärinta and Veravainen into the Zeppelin curve, the expectation was to see them move forward to challenge for a hat-trick of consecutive wins. Instead, an intermittent mechanical problem made the race much more complicated than that. The number 77 machine cutting out altogether there on the start-finish straight entering lap 2. That had cost them over 2 seconds and second place before power came back. With a fault so early in the race, the risk of retirement suddenly became that much higher. But while the other podium contenders waited to see if they could even make it to the finish, Reeves and Wilkes set off again on another game of cat and mouse with Päivärinta and Väyryväinen. Thankfully for the Brits, their sector times looked strong almost instantly. By the end of lap 2, they'd pulled back over half a second on the Finns ahead. Stroyer and Russo were also on the move, having found themselves out of position down in 7th. Tucked up behind L'Église and Clément, the pace of the number 4 outfit was clearly being held back. On lap 4, they finally had an opportunity to stretch their legs, ducking out of the slipstream at the start of the lap and through for 6th into turn 1. Progress didn't stop there either, having already gained 0.3 of a second compared to 5th place Sam and Adam Christie on lap 3. They picked up the pace further with a new personal best on lap 4 and made a bold move down the inside into the final turn. The number 34 Yamaha with the cutback led over the line to start the 5th lap of the race, but not by turn 1, with Stroyer and Russo now released into P5. Attempting to take advantage of Stroyer's pass and any effect on the number 34's rhythm, L'Église and Clément continued to push hard, but any hopes of keeping the Brits company were denied when they ran wide at the chicane, losing around 8 seconds in the process, only narrowly rejoining in front of Archer and Thomas in 8th. Behind those two, Endeveld and Ramey were running an isolated 9th, leaving the rest in a 3-outfit scrap over 10th. Kimswenger and Lenertz, having picked off Rutz and Bosch on the opening lap, held sway there, with newcomers Dombanovski and Ricola rounding out the 12 runners. Reeves and Wilkes made small but steady gains on Päivärinta and Väyryväinen. By lap 8, they were pegged onto the Finns' red rear and sizing up their rivals. Again, the favoured passing place was the final turn. But this time, Päivärinta saw it coming, steered back up the inside for the cutback, and pulled onto the racing line, heading towards turn 1. Reeves and Wilkes were now forced to hold firm to make a block pass into the left-hander, moving far enough to cover the inside run into turn 2, a move they executed to perfection, enabling them to look ahead to race leaders Benetton Birchall for the first time. Päivärinta and Väyryväinen hadn't given up just yet. The number 77 outfit had the fastest lap in their pockets and had gained at a rate of 0.2 of a second a lap while behind, so the signs suggested the Finns would be unable to keep the pace. Further back, as Kimswenger and Lenertz attempted to fend off Rutz and Bosch, misfortune befell Dombanovski and Ricola, who'd been keeping a watching brief behind. World Championship newcomers were forced to retire to the pits with a mechanical problem, ending their weekend prematurely and missing out on the valuable experience of more track time, crucial during the infancy of their top-level career. Kimswenger and Lenertz had held on ahead of Rutz and Bosch on lap 8, but their positions were later reversed. Even once dispatched, the number 11 remained a top 10 runner as a result of another retirement. The earlier trip through the gravel track for L'Église and Clément had been caused by a terminal brake failure that dropped them out of the action altogether on lap 9 from 7th. Archer and Thomas, the first outfit to zip through and claim that place. The mechanical dramas didn't stop there in this 21-lap race of attrition. Just after Reeves and Wilkes had found their rhythm, gaining half a second on Benetton Birchall on lap 10, their recurring mechanical fault was back. Another 3 seconds wasted, second position lost again, and chances of victory almost over. But having managed the problem for more than half of the race, Reeves and Wilkes must have been cautiously optimistic of at least going the distance and banking valuable points, the issue seemingly only hitting them on the high-speed start-finish straight. With 7 laps to go, Benetton Birchall were heading towards victory with relative comfort. Their lead up to over 3 seconds, and their two rivals fighting among themselves through lap traffic for the runner-up place. Päivärinta and Verovainen had the reliability, but it was clear that Reeves and Wilkes had the pace. And when their bike finally played ball in the closing stages, they were able to make short work of the Finns and build a comfort buffer of just over a second to the 44 Racing team. Ben and Tom Birchall eased up on the penultimate lap, and their advantage over Reeves and Wilkes was brought down to below 3 seconds, but that was where it stayed. The Birchall brothers delighted with their second race victory of the campaign, but their rivals in the number 77 outfit relieved just to make the finish. The leaders lapped all the way up to 6th position in a dominant display, only the accolade of fastest lap of the race eluding them. Making it a 4th win in their last 5 races in Oschersleben, the Birchall brothers narrowed their championship deficit back to just 7 points, giving themselves a fighting chance in the remainder of 2019. Smiles all round for the top two, but a slightly more frustrating race for Päivärinta and Verovainen, who are starting to come to terms with the fact that they can't compete with the 2 series leaders. They will have to turn things around quickly, with 2 rounds featuring 3 races next month.
Well done, mate. Come on, Ben. Good job.
The retirement of Stroyer and Russo with 4 laps to go means just 9 finishers in the gold race, and only 5 of them making it home on the lead lap. Thankfully, just 4 seconds cover the top 3, who are closely matched in 2019.
Joo, siis kisa oli
It was a good race today. We had great pace on the track and we tried our best, but we have no chance against the British guys. They're pretty fast. We're satisfied nonetheless and look forward to what the rest of the season holds.
We were lucky to finish. The bike had an intermittent misfire, unfortunately. We don't really know why, but we got by Pekka the first time and it completely stopped on the start and finish straight. I had to reset everything. And then it went again and we chased and chased and then it cut out again and then we chased and chased, got Pekka again and it cut out again for the 3rd time. And yeah, we knew then that we had to just try and get it home really, so we just pushed and pushed and luckily it stayed, yeah, we got it home in 2nd, so we're over the moon really. To come to the track, which is our worst one, and to leave it with the fastest lap of the weekend and a 1st and a 2nd, it couldn't be better really. We're over the moon, so yeah, great job.
Yeah, it was hard to keep that pace up for 21 laps was difficult, but it's what we come here to do, you know, and it's great to take a win here and make up for yesterday's 2nd place and keeps the championship alive again for us. And thanks to my team, we've been great all weekend, and we look forward now to the next one.
At the season's halfway mark, Reeves and Wilkes are very much the team to beat. Positions 3 to 5 are starting to look settled, and only the 6th place in the standings is really up for grabs. 2 wins and 2 second places each over the last 2 rounds for the 2 lead British duos. So the 7-point gap between them dates back to Le Mans. Ben and Tom Birchall must find a way to break the deadlock in 3 remaining rounds.